Testing.
Morning.
All right.
Good, how are you?
Good. Did my cohort make it back?
I actually don't know if she made
I
it
don't
back.
either.
I think so.
You know, anytime you travel nowadays,
You never know.
it's a turkey shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe your flight's sometime, maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Morning, everybody. And Chief Buchanan. Hey, Chief Scott.
No. I'm tired of walking 17 blocks trying to get up in here though. All I'm saying. No, let's not go there. I can't believe they didn't want to.
Some of the issue is that they didn't put down the notice for executive, which that's not our fault. So
Yeah.
if they thought that they might want to talk about it.
So she was precise on the collective bargaining, the B2A, or because it could be personnel contract.
Just put the general.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, they don't, they're not voting on anything. Get Carl
skip and sync with those policies? Hey, Christina. Did skip and sync those policies were good to go, like no redactions?
Hey.
I read, I don't think they
How are you?
I also don't
Okay.
know if there's
Welcome back.
Thanks.
He said he was
I'm
fine
glad
with
to
it.
be
No
back.
trouble.
I'm just worried about,
Thankfully not
because I
this
don't think there's
time.
anything procedure-wise that's in
It's a
there.
turkey shoot, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's-
Last time what, I was delayed 12,
I didn't look over them.
24 hours and missed
He
more public
luckily beat me
safety.
to the punch, and if he's fine with that.
No, Scotland was wonderful.
I mean, as long as you gave a second set of eyes to it.
Yeah.
Didn't see anything tactic related.
How are you?
And hopefully if you read it, we're in line with everything that we did. I don't know how we wouldn't be or couldn't be.
And when I seen it, I thought about you guys, and I said,
We'll just let them know.
well, I hope it's not planes, trains, and automobiles.
No.
Hoping that
To the
everything's
board,
just
make
going
it
Yeah.
available.
Yeah, it was
The
absolutely
board would have a
perfect.
copy
Weather was
of,
great.
have
The weather was
lexical
great. There was
access
one
anyway.
day of rain, but
Why
that was
wouldn't
to be expected because it was in
I don't
the
know.
far north.
We could give them access
But
to
it
it,
was
right?
absolutely gorgeous.
No, because anytime somebody leaves, you would
Nice
have
to be
to.
away from people.
Oh, yes.
Well, Danny could pull that.
I know.
Yeah.
Read that to
Yeah,
you know.
she could.
Yeah. Can't wait for my time.
And we're done with the reception, which
How was
so
it?
much fun, but
It was fun.
also all the planning. I'm like, ooh, no more planning.
Well,
You guys had fun?
Yeah, it was a great time. Thanks for hosting.
I know, wasn't much else to do, so, yeah, I like that.
Then I loved the crushes that you guys were giving, the,
Oh yeah,
The
the
Holy
olive
Family
wood
Camp. Mhm.
favors.
those were really cool.
Thanks. Yeah,
all those are good. We have our city rep.
we brought those back with us.
That's a lot.
It was probably a big box.
Yeah, 4 different
And
people.
heavy.
Yeah, so we kind of broke it up into 4 different people to bring because we brought 150 of those back. So.
How's everything going with DC?
Well,
Found
closing.
a place?
We have a place.
Good.
Picking up the U-Haul during lunch today and packing it up. Closing is at 4 p.m. today.
Okay.
So it's mass chaos. But, yeah. So I'll come in tomorrow afternoon instead of today because it's just not going to happen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, it's so weird to pack up.
I know. Yeah. Steamer. Good morning.
Morning.
Needs to bring the steamer in. Needs a steamer. You got your portable steamer?
Hey, you need a number 2, or you already got one?
Yeah.
What's that? You need a number 2, or you already got one?
Morning, morning, Pastor.
Honestly, living a nightmare. Thanks for asking, Doc. Yeah, usually got me lounging next to you and running through some conversation techniques that you're notorious for, but I'm sure we will eventually. Oh, man. Me? Oh, the Elwood officer and, yeah. Yeah, well, especially those is, but sometimes you just can't help it. Yeah, I don't know why I'm still doing that. I've been doing that since 2006, that critical incident team. you got bags already packed, waiting for something next.
At least from our standpoint, it's gonna be quick and easy
For us.
for us.
It's a high school.
Man, freezing in here. I feel like the fire station in here all chilly.
We can only afford to heat half the building. So. And then when we get our new roof, we'll be fully insulated.
We got our storm done, but still.
Labor.
Hey, does homeowner's insurance cover if one of the ceilings in your room's got a big, huge bubble in it from probably water? I know I gotta find the leak, but I don't wanna tear it all out.
No.
I can fix
It's
it.
gonna break eventually.
It already, the ceiling, oh yeah, it's gonna come down.
Yeah.
It's like, probably like this, by like this, and it's got she's like, you're not gonna be happy when I got home at 10:30 last night. I'm like, oh my God. I don't know, yeah, if they ready. Oh,
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
Here it comes.
Okay.
Get busy. Yeah.
Good morning. We are calling to order the August 2022 meeting of the Board of Public Safety. Today is August 17th, 2022. The time is now 9:17 a.m. We are meeting in the council chambers on the 4th floor of the County City Building and this meeting is also being live streamed via Microsoft Teams. For those attending online, we ask you to please keep yourselves on mute to cut down on any background noise, and also want to note that any comments from the public should be reserved for the privilege of the floor portion of the meeting. Do a quick read-through of the agenda items, and then we'll turn this over to begin the meeting. So the Board of Public Safety met in executive session at 8:30 a.m. in the boardroom of the 13th floor, the County City Building, 227 West Jefferson Boulevard, South Bend, Indiana. Met for purposes as specified in Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-6.1 B2A for discussion of strategy with respect to collective bargaining. We are now in the regular portion of the meeting in the council chambers of the 4th floor of the County City Building, 227 West Jefferson Boulevard, South Bend, Indiana, and being live streamed virtually. A, approve minutes, July 2022 regular meeting minutes. B, Fire Department. 1, approve hiring of Lateral Firefighters. A, Trayvon Eppinger. B, Robert Henry. C, Hunter Gianetti. D, Devin Garcia. E, Nicholas Puccetti. 2, approve promotion to Captain Adrian Kaiser. 3, approve application and declaration of retirement Brandon May. 4, accept letters of resignation. A, Colin Gordon. B, Hanif Bonds. 5, file monthly statistical analysis report for July 2022. C, Police Department. 1, approve promotions to Patrolman First Class. A, Ryan Bennington. B, Bradley Fastnot. C, Bradley Sadalik. 2, acknowledgement of commendations. A, Brandon Schmidt. B, Corey Luth. C, Jeff Diggins. 3, file second quarter report for specialized schools. 4, file monthly statistical analysis report for July 2022. D, privilege of the floor. And E, adjournment. Are there any additions or corrections that need to be made?
The only addition from PD would be that we need to request a special hearing next week for 8 swearing-ins, so that can be added as the last item for police.
Okay, so special meeting date, we can discuss the time for that. You said there's 8?
8 swearing-ins.
8 swearing-ins. Okay, and that would be the only agenda item, it would just be, okay. Okay, we will add that to the end of the police items to try to schedule that. Okay, if there's nothing else, then I will turn this over to our board president. If you want to just take roll call, and then begin.
Good morning. We'll start with a roll call. Dr. Heller,
Present.
Pastor Ross,
Present.
Mr. Kurtzitz,
Present.
Dan Jones, present. Now we move to the approval of the minutes of the July 20th, 2022 meeting. Are there any additions, corrections? If not, let's entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Now we go to the fire department. Chief?
Good morning, honorable board members. Thank you, President Jones. First on our agenda is approve the hiring of lateral firefighters, Trevon Eppinger, Robert Henry, Hunter Giannetti, Devin Garcia, and Nicholas Pachetti. These individuals currently hold the minimum certifications required for appointment to the South Bend Fire Department and have at least 2 years of experience as career firefighters from other municipalities. They'll serve a 1-year probationary period upon the board's approval.
Any questions from the board? If not, we will entertain a motion.
Move for the approval of the hiring of lateral firefighters.
There a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Okay. Now we go on to Adrian Kaiser.
Yes, honorable board members, you remember the documents a year ago stipulating firefighter Adrian Kaiser to a CISA position or captain in special assignment. He's been on probation for a year. He's had his 4 evaluations to determine if he is still in line for a leadership position with South Bend Fire Department. He has completed all of his requirements prescribed for that position, and he is occupied in an outstanding fashion. Recommend that Captain of Special Assignment Adrian Kaiser, badge number 541, be promoted to the rank of captain, no longer in special assignment. Effective date of this promotion, August 17, 2022.
Any questions? Is there a motion, please?
Motion that we approve it.
Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. We have an application for retirement for Brandon May.
Yes, sir. As was formally submitted, the declaration of retirement for Captain Brandon May, badge number 382. Captain May was appointed to the South Bend Fire Department on March 16, 1994, and has served with loyalty and honor and fire suppression for many of those years as the captain at station number 4 on B shift. His effective date of retirement was August 10, 2022. I ask that the board join us in appreciation and gratitude to Captain Brandon Chopper May for his commitment and distinguished service to the South Bend Fire Department and the citizens of the city of South Bend. Wishing him many years of good health and happiness in his retirement.
Any discussions on that?
It's 28 years, right?
Okay, a motion, please.
Move for the acceptance of the retirement of Brandon May.
And is there a second?
So second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? If not, and Chief, we will get a coin for Brandon.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Much appreciated.
Much appreciated his service. Okay, we have Colin Gordon and Hanif Bond.
Yes, President Jones. Honorable board members, I have 2 letters of resignation. One from Colin Gordon. Colin Gordon, badge number 677, was appointed to South Bend Fire Department on September the 3rd, 2020. Effective date of resignation is August 12th, 2022. And also, if we are going to combine these 2 resignations, to be the board's privilege, Second resignation comes from firefighter Hanif Bonds, badge number 663. Firefighter Bonds was appointed to the South Bend Fire Department on September 17, 2021. His effective date of resignation was July 21st, 2022. If board members have any questions pertaining to these two resignations, I'd be more than happy to address them.
I would have a question that their tenure was pretty short. Is,
Yes, one individual who was from Michigan, state of Michigan, returned back to his hometown and joined the fire department there. That's a trend that's national in not just fire service, I believe it's probably law enforcement as well, that if their particular area isn't hiring at the time they want to join, so they go somewhere else to get the certifications and get the experience, and then when an opening comes up in their prescribed hometown, then they tend to want to go back home. Which is why we're making an extensive effort to encourage our local residents and our local young men and young women to stay home and join the South Bend Fire Department, as well as other entities within our community. And the other individual had been for a long time wanting to attend flight school and finally got accepted. And so therefore, he is moving on to become a pilot.
okey dokey. I guess I need a motion on this. No, we did it already. So statistical analysis is next.
Yes, for the month of July, we've had, for whatever reason, we've had a multitude of structure fires that we have lost buildings and contents as far as the designated cost value as prescribed on the documents in front of you. We've done numerous inspections and re-inspections for the month of July, and we've had numerous investigations into these prescribed incidents. Something to note, our overall monthly totals for all of our apparatuses, be it fire suppression or EMS, was 5,195 calls for the month of July. And the incident types that we have responded to were over 2,093 different incidents for the month of July alone. That pretty much concludes the monthly statistics analysis for July of 2022. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to entertain them.
Anyone? If not, thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
We are now ready for the Police Department. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask the board to approve the promotions to Patrolman First Class from Second Class for Officers Ryan Bennington, Bradley Fosnut, and Bradley Sedillick. They have completed all the requirements as outlined in our contract and working agreement, as well as they perform phenomenally on their respective shifts. So I would ask the board to please, for their promotion to the rank of PFC, and that would be effective tomorrow.
Any questions? If not, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Then we're going to the commendations of three very brave men.
Yes, obviously acknowledgement for the board and the board's discretion on whether to take it a step further from the board's perspective, commendation-wise. Just to reiterate, we have many of them. We vet them and decide as a team which one should go before the board. Obviously, this one we felt definitely should go before the board. The nutshell of it is officers were out doing emergency vehicle operations training at the tire rack. They actually witnessed a 5-car, 1 semi, 6 total vehicle crash on the toll road, and they ran from the EVOC track. Corey Luth with a fire extinguisher. He ended up using several fire extinguishers from, other vehicles that had stopped because of that horrific crash. There were fatalities in there. They did the best they could, meaning Corey with the fire extinguisher, and Brandon Schmidt also was able to comfort other vehicle occupants, where one person was notably deceased in that vehicle, trying to remain calm. Jeff Diggins, the same thing, with several vehicles. It was a mess out there, and that's an understatement. If you didn't see the pictures, you'd have to use your imagination, but imagine a semi doing whatever speed they were doing and smashing into 5 vehicles. So that was something that they had to see and contend with, and also do their due diligence and duty to the best that they could, waiting for help to arrive. That was no easy access, not for the fire department, medics, or whatever, to get to that location, and then still having to contend with opposing or opposite direction vehicles made it a little bit worse. So I watched some of the video from that, and how they did it, I don't know, but they did, and I think that's beyond commendable. Yes, it is part of their job, yes, it is part of their duties, but that's, to be able to contend with that. We also had a retired officer, Mark Walsh, who's over at IUSB now, was also involved in that. And we kind of, I'll just be blunt, kind of took it for granted because that was what they were supposed to do, and until we got a letter from Sergeant Mark Walsh from IUSB. That was a very lengthy conversation amongst the team, and much appreciated for what the officers did.
Any comments or questions? We sometimes have no idea what our officers and firefighters go through. We appreciate that, and we will, if you have time, we'll get some coins for them. If not, I'll bring them over to the police department. Same with the firefighter coin as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we are second quarter report for schools, and then followed by statistical analysis.
Yep. So number 3 on the agenda, second quarter report, specialized schools, as submitted to the board. The grand total for that was $29,325.31. Those are off-site locations. There is a rare circumstance where they are on-site, but we count them as a way because they are a webinar type training. Again, they do happen, they are rare, but those are also included. But I believe every one of these on here, and they list a location, so anywhere from Iowa to Georgia, Plainfield, et cetera, those are included in this, and you can see the amount of training that did occur away off-site.
Okay. Any other comments? If not, we move to privilege of the floor.
Did he
I
get-
still,
I think he only did the quarterly
Oh,
report.
I'm sorry.
There's the monthly
My mistake.
statistical,
My
and then we
mistake.
do have one more added item with the special
Okay.
meeting
Oh,
date.
that's right, okay.
yes, the quarterly report, item number 4, as submitted to the board, not the quarterly, the monthly statistical analysis, I apologize. It has been a long couple weeks. As noted, and I know the board takes specific interest, especially on page number 2. You understand it, you get it, so I won't rehash that, but I will tell you there's a 15% decrease in Part 1 crimes. It's still not, I mean, that's Band-Aid on arterial bleeding as far as I'm concerned. Usually we saw, if you remember, for the totality of this year, usually 18 or 19% decrease. That's only at 15. It still is a decrease, so there is that positive, but it doesn't feel that way. With that being said, I think it's fair that the board should know that so far this year to date, we've had 88 criminal assault shootings, 71 non-fatal, 17 fatal as a result of firearms being used to hurt somebody. So that's one of our big things. We still, I won't go over it again unless the board wants me to, about the counting of victims in a specific aggravated assault. But again, we are steady on course when it comes to that counting. So we're obviously very positive on exact numbers when it comes to that. And I know I'm positive on the unfortunate criminal assault shootings that we keep having. And I think the last one was, did we add that to number 5, Danny?
Yeah, we're just scheduling a special meeting date for the 8 swearing-ins. When are you thinking?
It's just, well, whatever the board, we would like to do it next week, but no later than the following week. So we can do it any time that's easiest for the board. 'Cause they'll be back and they're actually still doing some training stuff, but we can pull them. And the reason, if there's 8, that's going to be X amount of family members as well. And then, quite frankly, it's a lot easier for you all to find parking spots. Matter of fact, we'll vacate the front row so you can pull right in front if necessary.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we would need at least 3 of you to be there to be able to do that.
A week, next Wednesday, 24th.
It could be any day of the week if you want.
It depends on what works for the board, so what works next week?
The one time I forget to bring my calendar with me.
Oh, okay.
So for me, Wednesday or Thursday morning.
Okay.
Thursday is good for me. Thursday the 25th is good for me.
Okay. 8 o'clock?
What time?
9.
That's a little early.
She knew that was coming.
9 o'clock?
I'm with Dr. Heller on this one. I would, but you know, that's up to the board, but.
Okay. All right. So it will be
Thursday the 24th. At what time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
No, 8 o'clock.
Oh,
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock on Thursday, the 25th. And it's at the police department, correct? Okay,
Okay.
okay.
I was ahead of myself now.
That's okay,
We're-
we added that one on.
Yeah.
Now we will move to privilege of
Yeah,
the floor.
privilege of the floor.
So, since we have the hybrid, we'll start with anyone that's in person that wants to speak, and then we'll move to online. And it will be, each person has 3 minutes to speak. There will be a timer on the screen so you can see how much time you have remaining. Anyone who wants to speak online, please use the hand raising function or indicate in the chat, and we'll call on you in the order that we see you. So if there's anyone in person who would like to speak, we'll start.
Yeah,
There.
actually, I would like to, if possible, I'll just Chief ask a couple questions about policies. So as I understand it, I went through the duty manual just to kind of see what the policy is, and particularly what I was focused on, and you know, just in full transparency, this is a response to the Dante Cottrell incident. And so I know I'm not asking any questions about that, because I understand the investigation is still continuing, and that'll be made public. So what I'm more interested in is the policies themselves, and particularly the policy number 404, which is the SWAT response, policy 405, which is the negotiation team response, and policy 410, which is crisis intervention incidents. And so the questions that I have about policy 404, the SWAT response, is that under that guideline, under the operational guidelines for the deployment of SWAT, included are incidents for individuals who are threatening suicide or who have refused to surrender. And I'm just wondering, under what circumstances would SWAT be needed for a case of a suicidal person that is not involved in hostage situation or barricaded? In other words, why would SWAT be needed in the case for someone who is suicidal, contained, and only threatening to hurt themselves?
So, do you want to handle that, or you want me to handle that? So, yeah, I'm being very careful here, obviously, because there is that ongoing investigation, but I would tell,
And I want to be
generalize.
careful as well.
Yeah, so those are armed situations. There's 2 components, the person hurting themselves and it's not against the law to hurt yourself. But when somebody is armed, it's not just themselves, it is the potential to harm other people as well. So those are all, every one of those are case-by-case basis. Contained in a specific unit, for example, maybe does not require a full response SWAT team. So again, each one is based on its own, I hate to use the term merits, but merits are involved in that. So you have to weigh all those. Within that SWAT component are people who are critical incident trained, and 99.9% of the time, again, based on circumstances and merits, our crisis negotiators are also called out as well. So they're synonymous in almost every single case. Again, time, distance, all the other factors that do play factors into those decisions in a very short time are all considered before a deployment is made.
And as I understand it, when SWAT and the hostage negotiation team are both deployed, as I read the policy, and this is policy 405, that the negotiation team takes the lead in collaboration or in conversation with the officer in charge of SWAT. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
For the crisis intervention, that was helpful. So for policy 410, crisis intervention incidents, part of that policy states that the department will collaborate where feasible with mental health professionals to develop an overall intervention strategy to guide its members' interactions with those experiencing a mental health crisis. Is there an overall strategy in place that's publicly available in any way?
Again, there's varying layers to that. I know of, I'm still trying to be careful
Sure.
with this. You're talking, I know that there's a time element involved, meaning X amount of time occurred at the location we're alluding to, but that's still a rapidly evolving situation. There's many, many mechanisms that, and that will be explained, I assure you, the board especially, but our community equally, explained why things were done the way they were. There are, I'm trying to answer this as best I can. We've had 2 incidents in the last week where we have used crisis intervention teams outside of the police department that did not work out the way that would be ideal. So yet again, look, I'm just going to be blunt and tell the board, there are 2 questions. I've asked the media, I've asked the community as well. I know Chief Buchanan and I have talked about this as well. I don't know how or why we, as the police department, received for all these years, my 35 that I've been on the police department, received the task of dealing with these situations. But it's been thrown in our laps, and if I told you that there was 1,000 suicidal incidents, crisis incidents, mental health incidents that we contended with maybe within the last year and a half, and every one went flawless, nobody cares. Nobody said anything. So that's part of the frustration with the entire thing is we have to figure out in literally a moment's notice and get it right every single time. So again, not alluding to whether something was right or wrong in a most recent incident or any of the incidents, but trying to give perspective of why. I do know that we have been intimately involved for several years now trying to come up with a theoretical formula of how and when a intervention team would be involved. I can tell you from every one of those meetings with other area agencies, including fire and medics, that a response from them would not be an on-scene response where somebody was armed that had the potential to hurt not only themselves, but others as well. But again, we're still working on other mechanisms, and it's too slow a process for me personally. I'm sure it is for everybody else as well. To say frustrating, I think is the best word that I can use right now. And again, it's not a finger point at anyone, it's everyone that we need to expedite this process so we have something that we can count on as police, even as fire. I know I speak, at least on that part, on Chief's behalf, to have something in place that we can at least count, at least have a foundation or a framework that we can operate off of as well, because we cannot do this alone. And certainly, before it comes to that point, something needs to be in place before it involves us or the fire department or medics.
No, and I mean, I will say, I'm in full agreement with you. I don't think it's fully the police response. I think it's a community-wide response that's needed, that's working in collaboration with different units, because I think each incident may require different kinds of responses, but it has to be a collective and coherent response, not just police being expected to deal with whatever gets thrown in front of them. So, I mean, and that's really what's behind some of these questions. So that I think that we as a community need to like really address this. And as you said, I agree as well. The urgency is there. This is not the first time. It won't be the last time. And we need to do. We as a community need to do better.
No, valid points, Dr. Heller. As well, we just had it this morning where a kid didn't want to get out of bed and go to school, so they call us. Property line disputes, barking dogs. I could go on and on that are thrown on the police department to handle, to maintain. Those are not criminal offenses. And the brass tacks is that's what we handle is criminal offenses. Is it the right thing to do? Absolutely. I think it is, from a human being caring perspective, to intervene in some of those. But when we're talking about property line disputes, or somebody's brush is growing over onto somebody's property and they cut it down and we have to handle that literally makes no sense to me. It could become worse, and that is yet another form of de-escalation that we deal with on almost every single one of our calls. There is some component of de-escalation involved. So unfortunately, just because of the trade, because of our job, we are really good at that. But do we need to be? Are we the ones that are supposed to be handling I don't even know the amount, but I'm sure you know the sentiments, at least my sentiments, of are we the ones to be handling these certain things? Is the fire department the ones to be handling certain things? And I can guarantee you there's things that they go out on that they probably shouldn't be going out on.
No, thank you.
I just want to say thank you, Chief, both chiefs, for all that you do in serving our community, and the officers and the fire department, and for serving our community. I know it's hard. I've been there for 27 years, and I know the cause and the responsibility that's laid on both police and fire. So I just want to thank you personally for all that you do, and hope and pray that you continue to stick in there. And we try our best to get it right, but it takes a community effort. Thank you.
I would echo that, and I think Mr. Kurtz's would as well. I think we are at the end of our meeting.
Yeah, I don't see anyone online wishing to speak. I guess this is the last call. If anyone would like to speak for privilege of the floor in line, please indicate by raising your hand or putting it in the chat or unmuting yourself, something. But it doesn't look like there's anyone, so I think we can move to adjourn.
Okay, I'll look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second, Pastor Ross, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the meeting is concluded. Thank you.
Contrast.
We have many conversations, and my sentiments have always remained since day one. I mean,
And I'm always gonna come at this from the position of like, what's the best for all of us.
yeah, yeah.
Because it's about all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And it ain't about pointing fingers, it's not about pointing fingers.
No, and that's the thing. I don't think any one entity can come up with a solution. The solution is about people. That's what we all are here for. We're all here for people, right? So in that sense, it's everybody. All
I think they said so wrong for me. They said like how you take care of your seniors, your elders.
Yeah.
It's really a statement about what level of I'm more of your community.
Yeah.
And I think it's true about how we take care of those who have been called to shoes.
Yeah.
Other communities, how well we can protect and take care of those folks. Is a measure of just how solid a community is. And we can't leave it like that hanging.
no,
And it has to be like contained and cleaned up.
and we want to be proactive, right? We want to have these conversations, and we want to be proactive as far as trying to find some type of solution or resolution to it, right? But at the same time, we've been having these conversations long before that. I mean, this message has been reiterated many, many years. And it's not, unfortunately, it's not until we get, yes, when the outcome doesn't happen the way that everybody wants it to happen, or it's not ideal, then everybody wants to speak. As long as everything's nice and quiet, oh, they're fine with it. There's no problem.
Everybody have a good day.
It's just, it is frustrating, and I know I alluded to you, but I'll tell you, 4 days ago, we had an incident where we have been dealing with this lady as police time and time again, and that day was no different. So we called the mobile team. They literally came out, talked to her for 2 or 3 minutes, put her in their van, and drove her to Howard Park and dropped her off. I am not shitting. So with that being said, what happens? We get called, and we had to do a 24-hour on her because it was that bad. Yesterday morning, this is even better. Dukem Center calls. We got a guy, blah, 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 wants to do a self-committal. So, okay, we drive out there to Dukem Center. We take this person to the hospital.
Do the transport.
Well, I mean, we are stewards of everyone, not, so, again, they're short-staffed as well, and to me, it's a little cleaner and safer that way. We have recordings in the cars just in case something, I mean, so it's a little better that way. And theoretically, hey, I want to check myself in, right? Well, he knew what he was doing, or she, but anyway, they get to their location, Epworth, and after 2 hours, like, I'm done, I'm out of here, I don't want this. And you can't stop them because it's self. So we get a call going, hey, this guy wants to leave. Well, you're in custody, right? It's still a lot less invasive than a jail or a prison is, but you're still in custody. You have mechanisms in place that a judge ordered. So we go pick him up and we take him back. They're like, yeah, no, that ain't happening. We can't because of what happened here. So they wouldn't even open the door. They're like, yeah, no, he's staying with you. So like we go back to Epworth and they're like, no, he checked himself out. We can't force him. Literally, we are stuck with this dude.
Have to just put him on the street.
That we had to go back to the doctor, the same doctor that says, no, we have to release him, blah, blah, blah. Luckily, we were able to, they had all the information, Dukem. Epworth had X amount of information. We had no information. We picked at A and dropped off at B. Now, in between, we have to figure all this out. So luckily, our captain got involved, and he was able to talk to this doctor and go, look, this is the predicament we're in. I don't want, because if something's bad he's going to do something to someone. And on top of that, you still have believe it or not, a court mechanism in place that you're telling a judge, screw you, I don't care what you signed on that paper, we're not doing it. Which we're awfully close to doing, but then an officer gets held in contempt of court. That's not a pretty thing. So luckily, the doctor conceded and actually got a 5-day hold based on going back through old stuff that he was able to dig up and incorporate, and not like in a bad way, but holy crap, yeah, maybe we need to do something here. So that's how that, but in the meantime, here we are, hour and a half, 2 hours, that we're taking 3 cops now off the streets. When you need to call 911, sorry, it's gonna be a while, these are the type of things that, and it's 2 in the morning, so nobody really cares. You know what I mean? I do, because I'm the one getting the texts and the phone calls and trying to figure this out after an hour and a half sleep. You know what I mean? And that's what's more frustrating about anything. And these happen all the time. They're like, oh no, chief, these. I'm like, well, why are you not telling me these things? Because you got enough, et cetera. So, again, I think the brass tacks of everything is, man, there's got to be something. And I don't want to like, yeah, that's not our job. Like, I can literally tell you that is not our job. But it has been since I've been a cop. Why? And nobody can answer that.
Well, because no one else is doing it, there's no other mechanism in place.
Right.
That's fine with it in a way that doesn't put it squarely on your plate.
Yep.
And that's part of what needs to change again. Because ultimately you're going to take several moving pieces that you pull this together. And which doesn't involve you, it's going to involve both of you, but not just you.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually all for that. They're not a cop going to say no to
That's the main
that.
point, right
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
That's the main point.
Yeah, no.
We understand that we're gonna be in the conversation,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't just be, Scott, solve it, figure this
let's
out.
just dump it in the
Or
fire
Earl,
department.
figure
Yeah.
this out.
Well, that was another, I could not even understand that. Well, fire department, like, are you kidding me? Like, it's bad enough that these poor firefighters go out on 600 block of Johnson Street while shots are still being fired.
Yeah.
Like, we are there trying to get through this crowd. They're telling all the cops, you wouldn't believe it. F you, you ain't doing, I mean, would not move. We got a guy shot, and the medics can't even we can't get to him, let alone the medics. And then the medics get there, shots ring out again, and they're like, hey, they don't,
not-
right.
Yeah,
They ain't supposed to get shot. You know what I mean? Like, cops, okay.
Y'all kind of soldiers.
Yeah, like, man, and they're like, nah, man, there ain't nothing we can do, man. We'll sit back and if you can get somebody out of there and bring them to us, and that's what, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of cops were mad about that, but how do you blame them?
Yeah.
I mean, that little Kevlar or whatever you use in your jackets ain't stopping nothing, I can tell you that right now.
So for both of you, if there's anything I can do that can move this along and be supportive or whatever, it's like,
You will, you're gonna be one of the facilitators at that CAG meeting, right?
I will.
When Shay called me, I'm like, have Dr. Hiller do it. Regardless of what he thinks, it doesn't matter. He knows how to facilitate these things. He knows how to go, look, good, bad, or indifferent is irrelevant. We need to get something when we discuss policies, what do we do moving forward? How can we do this? You were the first person that came to mind.
I'll do it. That would be helpful.
No, it's on August 23rd at
Already have it.
Round Middle, yeah.
Yeah.
And then anybody else you could think of who could be a table facilitator. But I told her, I said, nobody's going to be able to lay it out like you do, because you understand, unfortunately, sadly probably, both perspectives. I know there's more than two, but at least initially, community police, because that seems to be the focus right now.
Well, and I have no judgment. I mean, not about pointing fingers. I'm not about trying to, and
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get nothing for me out of it. So
Right.
I just want everybody to be good.
Yeah.
I want everybody to go home at night, hug their babies.
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, you got it.
all right, I appreciate it.
Pardon me?
You want those three guys?
We want to give one to the police officer.
Oh, okay. Can you do that? Can we do that? I guess you could. Yeah, I mean, it's Mark Walsh. I mean, you guys actually said yes to his retirement when he left, and he just immediately stepped in there.
Well, it'd almost be like as a community member too.
Yeah.
If we
Yeah.
Give you one.
Yeah,
Hey, I'm president, I can do whatever.
yeah, that's true.
I
Yeah,
can hide files.
yeah, because aren't these the ones that are serial numbered, or no? I don't remember. But that's the no. Yeah, that's the captain's coins. I think that are serial numbered. But yeah, I'll check and do we have it? I think we have some of these, just in case. Yeah, I'll ask Dawn, and if I'll shoot you a text and let you know if we have them. If not, then.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Did I tell you that our son in the FBI ended up in Ukraine with our,
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Mar-a-Lago, and I'm gonna be like, what?
he's really pissed off about that.
Oh, I mean, all the true, yeah,
It diverts all the other stuff
yep.
that they're doing.
Why is he in Ukraine?
Every now and then, he was on hostage rescue. And then when you get some high-profile people
Yeah.
that are going
Wanna go over there,
it
yeah.
gives, or vacation, it gives their security team some time off. So
Yeah.
he's over there. I don't have a picture, but I get this call on Monday after Father's Day. Hey, Dad, sorry I missed. I'm in full.
Don't want to get
So he was there, then he finds out he goes into Ukraine. And there's a picture of when they,
All right, sir.
when people leave, they stand for a picture with people who provide security.
Yeah. Oh.
So he's there, and he's got a sport gun. The 6 guys from hostage rescue were full camo. Automatic rifles.
Yeah.
Meter and shit. One guy's got this big beard, and I said, that guy could start his own survival reality
Yeah, yeah.
TV show.
And he's all dressed up.
But I think, yeah, he was never on, he got into some nasty stuff, but he was never
Yeah,
on the.
on the initial detail, yeah, the initial in-ground, or I forgot what they call it.
He did that for the director one time too.
Yeah, it's tough over there, because, like, quite frankly, I don't know who you believe over there. You know what I mean? There's so much nefarious stuff going on over there. And like all my FBI contacts here, or, within the area, because I, went to the FBI Academy as well, that they are just fit to be tied of how this whole thing is going out, and knowing that whole Peter Strzok debacle where he's texting going, yeah, we'll ensure that I'm like, oh my God, whether you like Trump or not, that is irrelevant. What is going on is like so horrendous. I'm like, and here, we're required to have body cams, right? You mean to tell me that not one of those agents, nobody videoed any of that search? They tell the people at Mar-a-Lago it's one of the security cameras, we shut them down. They actually had agents staying there to make sure that those cameras stayed off.
I thought they refused to turn them off.
Well, they fought back and they made them. I just don't understand that. I had my yes. I just understand. They didn't write the same word, right? It's just like me saying, hey, here's a SWAT warrant, SWAT team, go serve this warrant. They're gonna do, but they don't know any of it. So, but there's a feeling that they, anyway, something's not right.
Nothing now, but it might be odd if me trying to get more emphasis support. Can you follow what I'm saying? I wouldn't want, something down. So I'm just thinking, maybe at the end of the year, I could do something from this. And it's not because I like it, but I just think it gives me an emergency down in both of these agencies level for the whole town. Does that make sense to you at all? Or?
I think so, yeah. I understand enough that I can see where they're looking to overlap, maybe sort of conflict, sort of not, those awkward situations at least. Yeah, so if you start to come into some of those, I think we can talk about it more, like before you're ready to, or if it seems like it's kind of an issue.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll let you know. But I just wanted to share it. And go ahead if you think there is a conflict, so So you see, we're, and my partner and I, Jimmy, we're just gonna try to bring people together. We're gonna put a whole new issue to the South Center. That's gonna be establish a POC over there, which could be used at a moment's notice for any kind of major tactical operation. And the police officer, commanding officer, that will be there, but that dispatcher and operationally, the amount of drones and everything, they can look them in there, two Commendations. And so it's all of a sudden, I'm getting off track here, but, fire service is much better at community control, and we had it just to reduce that here. And, you know, if somebody gets hurt now, the fire will safety, I understand police don't, part of the experience, but how would you manage this incident? Function better time to determine the risk of that. So, I'm getting a little off track, but that's our goal. You know, we're gonna try to do it, try to establish these teams, concept on there, federal student, 50% participation. It's good if they're not for 62. Police officer, prefer, officer, or captains, you know, lieutenants. 30 cats. It's gonna be fun.
They're always open to training, like, so.
Yeah, sometimes though, the whole hymns is, but it's just protocol that the ICS forms you have to fill.
Yeah, they had to do some, there's things that are in the